All right, we're streaming live, springhappenings.com, 10:34 p.m. on Monday. On the phone with me, I have meteorologist Larry Perez, rather. We're going to talk a little bit about the severe weather that is expected to hit our area starting tomorrow morning. Larry, welcome.
Hey, Zach. Thanks for having me on. Congrats to Spring Happening for getting the word out about this and all the recent awards. Doing a great job. So I think wanted to touch base kind of rather quickly, but if you have questions, I think Zach's got a way for you guys to ask questions. Should they do that through Facebook, Zach, or what do you recommend?
Yeah, if anybody has any questions, they can post them on the Facebook comments on the recent post that we just published. So if you have any questions that you want to get answered during this live broadcast, feel free to post them in the comments below.
All right, so hopefully everybody can see the screen here. On the National Weather Service site, as our source for information, we've got a couple of things going on. Obviously, an active severe weather event expected Tuesday into Wednesday. Coastal flood watch is in effect from Tuesday into Wednesday, and then we've got the flash flood watch for the entire southeast Texas region over that same time period, starting really Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday night. What we have, I'm going to go over to a upper level map, is we've got this, we're looking at the 500 millibar map, which is basically looking at the winds at approximately 18,000 feet above the ground. We've got this large low pressure system over the southwest United States, over northwestern Mexico. That's got a really, really strong speed max associated with it, this band of high winds here aloft. Those winds are going to rotate around and basically create divergence over the state of Texas, which is going to lead to thunderstorm development. Matter of fact, we've already got some storms going on in the Dallas area tonight as we look at this live radar from College of DuPage radar stream. And this is probably what we can expect tomorrow as we go through the day, is that storms will form kind of ahead of a line, and in the morning the winds are expected to be a lot stronger aloft initially, so the chances of some high winds associated with any thunderstorms that do develop, and potentially any tornadoes, would occur kind of in that midday through early afternoon Tuesday, and maybe slightly into Tuesday night, but the upper level winds and dynamics are going to weaken a little bit, so the tornado threat should wane as we go through tomorrow evening. But
hey,
I'm going
Larry,
to hop back.
To interrupt you really quick, can we talk about the storms that have hit Dallas this evening? I know there were some reports of some really strong wind just to the west of the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Cool, Texas. Can you tell us a little bit about what they saw there?
Sure. Yep. So we had thunderstorm complex go through the North Texas area this evening. And earlier this afternoon, we had quite a few high wind reports. Not really much in the way of hail. We had one hail report in southwest Texas, but and some in Kansas. But most of it was high winds, and that occurred. If we go down the list here, so what you were talking about, Zach, is in Cool, Texas. There were some structures and multiple car damage 2 miles east of Cool by Highway 180. Winds were estimated in excess of 50 to 60 miles per hour. Damage was also reported, roofs blown off houses in Weatherford, Parker, Texas. So, yeah, really volatile situation, and the real, juice of the storm system hasn't even kicked in yet, and that's what's going to happen tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, and even into Wednesday.
Okay, so we're gonna see what we're seeing in Dallas, but here in Houston tomorrow.
That's correct. And so if I can just go into this, I'm going to go into the discussion a little bit here, which is a lot of verbiage, and try to kind of get down to it. But what we have is just a lot of instability in the atmosphere. We have a lot of high winds aloft, a lot of low-level wind shear, which helps to create that spin that's needed for tornadoes. So the thunderstorm development is going to take place across the region tomorrow and into the afternoon. Isolated tornadoes and damaging wind is the primary threat. Then we'll have heavy rain threats after that throughout the day Wednesday. So really what we're doing is we're kind of building up the rain tomorrow, but most of the severe weather's tomorrow, and then the heavier rain and the flooding threat is mostly overnight tomorrow night into Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay, so
touch on
for folks waking up tomorrow morning and on their commute to work, what time should Houstonians expect this weather to begin?
Right. So I think tomorrow morning, I mean, it wouldn't be surprising to me to see some passing showers in the morning, and maybe a little bit of heavier shower toward noon. Thunderstorms really start to crank up in the afternoon as the sun heats up the atmosphere. And so really tomorrow afternoon is going to be the kind of watch period through tomorrow evening. So I don't think the commute tomorrow morning is going to be that bad. You're going to have some little showers, maybe some drizzle, definitely some high winds. We're going to be having winds all day of upwards of 30 miles an hour. But it's really tomorrow evening, the commute home, that's really going to be an impact and into the overnight hours.
Okay, and we're going to talk about rainfall and our expected rainfall rates next. What can you tell us about how much rain are we talking about?
It's going to be quite a bit. I mean, we're, initially at the start of this event, so what we're looking at here, this map is the projected rainfall from the Weather Prediction Center, 24 hours from basically tonight into tomorrow night. So over that 24-hour period, 2 inches of rain, not a whole lot of rain through tomorrow evening when you're getting home from work, but overnight, so we're going to pull up the day 2 here, which is basically the 48-hour look. That's when it really starts to crank up, and what we're seeing here is a 7-inch bullseye, basically over northeast Texas, Tyler area, extending down south into the Corpus area. But really, when you look at over the next 1 to 3 days, I mean, some areas could pick upwards of 10 inches of rain, 8 inches of rain for the Houston area potentially. So we're talking about Wednesday, the chances of a heavy impact to the morning commute, lots of street flooding, perhaps some of the bayous will flood. And really, it's going to just depend on where these storms set up, where they train as they come off the Gulf of Mexico, because the way we have this flow aloft, we're going to have these storms moving from south to north as they move, as the whole system moves very slowly from west to east. We're going to have these storm systems, these storm cells moving south to north, dumping heavy amounts of rain over the area. Much like what Dallas is experiencing tonight, this North Texas area is experiencing the same thing, what we can expect overnight into Wednesday morning from tomorrow night.
Cool. I just want to kind of recap. We've got literally hundreds of people joining our live broadcast by the minute. On the phone with us, Larry Perez, a meteorologist here in the Houston area, and we're talking about the severe weather threat that we have, Larry, tomorrow until possibly Thursday.
That's right. Yeah, the severe weather threat really cranks up tomorrow afternoon. We're going to have high wind threats. We're going to have a possibility of tornadoes tomorrow afternoon. And, when you think about the tornado threat, it's not going to be like a Midwest-style tornado where you have this large tornado on the ground, doing a lot of damage. Talking about short-lived, just quick spin-ups. I hate to bring up the Willis event that happened recently, but the Willis tornado was a prime example of what we might expect tomorrow afternoon. These winds are coming off the Gulf of Mexico at a high speed. We've got high winds aloft. That creates a nice spin to the atmosphere. When these storms get going, it's likely that we could see a few of these storms spin up and maybe drop a tornado or two across the area. So definitely want to be on the lookout for that. I wouldn't be surprised to see a tornado watch tomorrow at some point in the day from the Storm Prediction Center.
Good, and for everybody that is curious, if you go to our website, springhappenings.com, we posted an article earlier this afternoon from the National Weather Service that kind of goes over some severe weather safety tips. So it's got a lot of good safety tips to keep you and your family safe. Larry, I know talking about strong winds, people should probably secure all the items on their patios, their back porches, and stuff of that nature. Any other tips that you can give to everybody?
I mean, obviously, if you drive a high-profile vehicle, if you're caught in some heavy thunderstorms with strong winds, you're going to want to try to get to a place, preferably the shoulder, maybe even off the freeway. If you're driving along and that wind's trying to blow you across the lanes. But, that's going to be really the highest winds are going to be inside of these thunderstorms. So unless you're, driving in the middle of one of these storms, I mean, you're probably going to be just experiencing some heavy rainfall and across the area, and then traffic's going to be kind of bad as you're driving around town trying to get through some of this stuff. But if you can stay off the roads during the day and when this stuff's going on, which is kind of hard to do when you're commuting home, it's obviously recommended to stay off the road during the afternoon hours when this stuff really gets cranked up.
So scattered mild thunderstorms tomorrow in the morning, in the afternoon, and then when we get in the evening hours is when stuff is really supposed to crank up. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, I think, early afternoon, I'm saying the time frame of 2 to 4 p.m. and beyond is kind of that peak time where we can expect some of these heavier thunderstorms to form and move into the area. Anything that forms could rotate with the winds aloft being the way that they are. And, there is a potential for tornadoes, high winds up to 60 miles per hour. I think the probability for hail right now is pretty low. We have a lot of warm air in the lower atmosphere, so it would take some pretty large hailstones to make it through that warm air and actually reach the ground. So I don't think we have a real hail threat for tomorrow, but definitely a strong wind threat, severe wind threat, and a tornado threat as well.
And when we're looking at these prediction maps, we see that this storm itself is dipping extremely far south, which is extremely rare for this time of year. What is that going to do as far as pulling in Gulf moisture? Are we going to see a training effect?
Well, we'll definitely have some training storms with the winds the way they are. So we've got this unidirectional flow. So I'm going to go right now. This map is showing 24 hours in advance. So we're looking at tomorrow afternoon. But what I want to do is advance this map just another couple hours here to show what's going to happen on Wednesday, which is when the heaviest rain is going to fall. Which honestly, the flooding, as most people probably know, flooding kills more people than any other severe weather event. So we definitely want to touch on that more so. But what we're looking at is as this low pressure system makes its way east, we look at this strong band of winds that are wrapping around it at the mid and upper levels. At the same time, you have this Gulf flow coming in from the southeast. So the storm motion is going to be from south to north. You're going to have a very slow moving line of thunderstorms throughout the day on Wednesday, starting in the morning, which will affect the commute throughout the day. I mean, I don't know that we'll see really any breaks on Wednesday in the rainfall, and it'll be heavy at times and it'll be moderate at times. But I think we can expect a 4 to 5 inch totals on Wednesday, which is enough to cause flash flooding with training storms like we can expect on Wednesday.
Okay, let's pull up those our expected rainfall rates if you have those up, and just review those. So a huge bubble with an estimated 10 inches across most of southeast Texas.
Yeah, through the next 3 days. So really, we're looking at starting tomorrow morning through Friday. We can expect about 10 inches on the eastern part of Texas. Counting backwards, going from east to west, we've got 10 inches. Houston, 5 to 8 inches. And then slightly lower rainfall amounts as you go west to central Texas. But overall, really a high rain event and a severe threat tomorrow afternoon.
And you said there's not a huge threat for hail at this point in time. We remember, about this time last year, we had that severe hailstorm that hit the Spring and the Tomball area. What are some things that could cause that to happen again? What are we lacking in this setup?
Well, in that particular event, there was a lot of cold air loss. It was a lot cooler than it is right now. And so you had this kind of backside of a low pressure system with really, really cold air loss and not as warm air as we have today at the surface, and that's what allowed those hailstones to keep their size and really cause some damage up there. I don't expect that to be the case tomorrow. We just have too much warm air, too much of a thick layer of warm air, I should say. I do want to touch on this Storm Prediction Center map here. You were asking about the threat probability and the impacts to the area. I'm just going to pop the population marker there so we can see the Houston area is right on the edge of this enhanced area of severe weather. And right now that means a 30% probability of severe weather within 25 miles of a point. Now that sounds kind of obscure, but 30% is actually quite a large percentage, so we can expect a widespread severe weather event tomorrow afternoon going into Wednesday. Again, the main threats being high winds and isolated tornadoes as this system moves to the east through our area tomorrow evening and night.
Good deal. Well, we have quite a few followers, over 1,500 people right now on our live broadcast. We want to thank everybody for coming out. Just to recap, meteorologist Larry Perez on the phone with us talking about tomorrow's severe weather event. We've talked about mild scattered thunderstorms tomorrow morning throughout early afternoon, and once we get into the afternoon commute is when things are really going to start to heat up. A huge 10-inch bubble of expected rainfall across most of southeast Texas.
Through Friday.
Say that again, Larry?
Yeah, that's going to be through Friday. So this is looking at the accumulation of rainfall from the start of the event tomorrow morning through Friday. So we could see upwards of 10 inches, a 10-inch bullseye there on the east side of Texas, right there on the Texas-Louisiana border, counting backwards 10 inches, 8 inches for the Houston area, some locally heavier amounts, flash flooding through the day on Wednesday, and then again, kind of the more severe weather happens tomorrow afternoon into the overnight hours, and then the heaviest rain will fall Wednesday into Thursday as well.
Good deal. Well, we're going to try to wrap this thing up. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we end this broadcast?
I just want to remind everybody to be safe out there. Use your common sense. If you drive in the high water, it's advised to turn around and don't drown. That's what we preach over here in the weather community. So turn around, don't drown. Try to avoid the high water areas. Monitor your news outlets. SpringHappenings.com is a great one. Zach, I know you'll be tracking the system throughout the day tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, really all week. It's going to be an active weather situation that's going to be evolving through the day tomorrow and through the day on Wednesday. So that make sure you stay up to speed with all the alerts that come out. I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe a tornado watch come out tomorrow, depending on how much sun and heating we can get to really juice up the atmosphere. And then I can expect some flooding on Wednesday as well.
Good deal. Well, Larry, I'm going to take over the mouse from you and move over to our website really quick. Just to remind everybody, springhappenings.com, also on Facebook, facebook.com/springhappenings. We're on Twitter @springhappens. Sign up for email alerts at the bottom of any of our articles. If you type in your email address at the bottom of the articles, you can get instant email alerts sent directly to your email. So as soon as we publish an article, you will be notified. Like Larry said, we'll be tracking the storms throughout the week, and if anything becomes newsworthy, we'll make sure to let you know about it. Larry, I appreciate you coming on, and we had one more question that someone actually just asked us on Facebook. What's the difference between a watch and a warning?
That's a great question. So when there's a watch in place, that means that the conditions in the atmosphere are favorable for that particular event to occur. For example, if it's a tornado watch, that means that the conditions are favorable for tornado formation. That does not mean that there's a tornado actually going on However, when the National Weather Service thinks that a tornado is on the ground, they issue a warning. So the warning is the more extreme of the two, and that's the one that says go to the lowest room and lowest level of your house into a secure room away from windows and hunker down. So definitely, if you hear of a warning, you want to take shelter. The watch means just be aware and be listening and have availability to get the information so that if a warning is issued, you can take shelter.
Good deal. Well, we will update you via our website and Facebook page if there's any more developments in the storm before it hits tomorrow in the afternoon. Larry and I are going to kind of monitor the storm. We may do another live broadcast tomorrow evening, just depending on its development and any changes. So stay tuned. And Larry, I appreciate you coming on.
Thanks, Zach. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you tomorrow through the day and Wednesday as well.
Thank you.